Go and be free in the sea.
The Penguin Lessons is a feel-good family film starring Steve Coogan. It's about a British schoolteacher who rescues a penguin in Argentina.
Morning, chap.
The film is inspired by a memoir written by this man, Tom Michell, known during his teaching days as Mike Thompson.
Tom's quite a decent chap. Mostly decent. And,
You don't know me that well.
I know.
Last month, we reported allegations that he'd sexually abused 3 of his former pupils at the old Malthouse School in Dorset in the 1970s.
He's masturbating me, basically. He asked for oral sex.
He got a watch out of his pocket and he said, in about 10 seconds, that I'm going to put you to sleep.
Thompson vehemently denied the allegations, but since our report, other former pupils have come forward to Channel 4 News. Charles attended the old Malthouse School, which has since closed, from the age of 8, starting in the late 1960s. He remembers being charmed by his athletic chemistry teacher, then known as Michael Delanoy Thompson.
I have this memory of him as just being a very sort of charismatic character.
Thompson used to tell Charles deeply inappropriate tales of his exploits.
Michael told me a lot of stories about his sexual encounters with women. And this was another thing that sort of rather, I suppose, fascinated me about Michael.
But it went far beyond salacious stories. And for more than half a century, Charles never told anyone about one disturbing incident that took place when he was 12 or 13. Thompson was in his early 20s.
The incident I can remember in particular is in a room that was either an office or perhaps it was part of the lab. He was sitting on a chair and at a certain stage he started masturbating. So he opened his trousers. I think I might have been involved in that as well. He might have just said something simple like help me or whatever, or do you want to try? Or I think he ejaculated.
And so tell us now how you feel about that incident and how you view it now.
Well, looking at it from the point of view of the past, I sort of just filed it away. And I didn't feel that I had been abused, I just thought it was something that had happened.
Do you think you were groomed to think that?
Well, this is, yes, it's implicit grooming.
Having seen our original investigation, Charles now wishes he'd reported what happened to him at the time.
I would say to myself now, talk to somebody. Anybody, just talk to somebody that you trust.
We've also heard from 2 other men who were at the old Malthouse School in the 1970s. One recalls an alleged incident of inappropriate touching in Thompson's car in the summer of 1972. He claims Thompson reached across the gear stick and handbrake and started stroking his thigh insistently. Another man claims that Thompson showed him pornography and hypnotised him and other boys. In 1976, Thompson left Dorset for Argentina, where he says he rescued the penguin immortalised in his best-selling book and the film released in cinemas this year. By 1980, Mike Thompson had taken up a post at Truro School in Cornwall, where he became head of chemistry. He was also a housemaster at one of the boarding houses. Now we can disclose disturbing allegations about his behaviour here too. In our original report, Richard, a former pupil at the old Malthouse School, alleged he was sexually assaulted after being hypnotised and, he believes, drugged with a cup of tea.
And he said, in about 10 seconds, that I'm going to put you to sleep. He took his trousers down and started masturbating in front of me.
After we broadcast our investigation, Truro School's headmaster sent an email to former students saying how shocked it had been to learn of the allegations about Thompson and asking anyone with concerns to get in touch. One former pupil who agreed to speak to us anonymously using the name James received the email and watched our report. He had a visceral reaction to Richard's allegations.
It was like a bomb. I remember sitting on the bed watching it and just muttering expletive after expletive after expletive, thinking, oh my God. It was very difficult. It was really hard to comprehend, because watching this report and listening to this guy who'd been hypnotised just like I had, and I thought he needs to know that he wasn't the only one, that he needs to know that somebody else was also hypnotised by the same man in very almost identical academic circumstances.
James had arrived at Truro School in 1981, homesick and missing his family. He describes Thompson as charismatic, but also to be feared.
He just came across as very extremely serious. You know, you wouldn't cross this guy. And he would kind of threaten you with punishments, and one of them being the brain taps.
What are brain taps?
Oh, this was a code for smacking your bottom.
When James started to struggle in chemistry lessons, Thompson asked the boy to go and see him in his private room.
He suggested to me, I'm going to try and hypnotise you. And I thought, oh, that's a bit odd. And he pulled out one of those classic clocks on a chain, and he started to swing it back and forth in front of me. And I remember him saying, you're going to feel sleepy. And I just remember his face being really close up. I remember him touching my thigh, and I didn't. It's difficult, because you feel, no, I don't like you doing that, but you're a teacher. You could, in those days, teachers could pretty much do what they wanted.
James is now concerned he doesn't know what happened once he'd been hypnotised.
The last memory I have is of the pendulum going back and forwards. And then it's pretty blank between that and then arriving at the boarding house and telling one or two people what happened. There's a void. There's a definite void.
So what's your worst fear of what happened then?
Well, my worst fear is that something maybe untoward happened. I don't know, but it's blank. I cannot categorically say what happened in that time.
James, who now works in education himself, wants the police to investigate. Mike Thompson spent a quarter of a century teaching here at Truro School, retiring 20 years ago. Just over a decade after he left, he was reported to the police over alleged abuse at the old Malthouse School in Dorset. He was interviewed under caution, but no further action was taken. Yet since his success with the Penguin Lessons book and film, he's returned to Truro School several times as a guest of honour. Truro School told us it was the first time it had been made aware of James's claims, and that prior to our first report last month, it had not received any allegations about Thompson. It encouraged anyone with concerns to get in contact. Since being abused at a Sussex prep school as a child, campaigner Alex Renton has compiled a database of hundreds of similar allegations. He told us he believed James was not the only alleged victim at Truro.
So I've got 4 allegations logged in my database that appear to refer to Mike Thompson, starting from the midpoint of the 80s and going through the 90s. What's clear from them, and sometimes people don't go into much detail, is that he was perceived as a risk. And there's one allegation which kind of suggests that the same modus operandi, in the sense of the way in which he was allegedly sexually involved with the children, mutual masturbation and so on, that definitely sounds like the same kind of thing that you reported on around the old Malthouse School. The police need to act on a school which clearly appears to have harboured a dangerous predator.
Dorset Police told us tonight they have now opened an investigation into sexual abuse allegations at the old Malthouse School in the 1970s. The 3 men we spoke to last month have all contacted the force, and Charles too is prepared to do so.
To me, my experience corroborates what the other men said. I think it needs to be properly exposed, that Michael Thompson needs to say these things happened, to explain himself.
Through his lawyer, Mike Thompson said,
I continue to maintain my innocence and categorically deny these dreadful, soul-destroying allegations. I have never behaved inappropriately towards any student. These serious and historic allegations are unfounded and diametrically opposite to my conduct, character, or professional record. I reiterate my unequivocal position that if these individuals were abused 50 years ago, they have my sympathy, but it was not me who was responsible.
Penguin Random House said it is concerning to learn of additional allegations. The book was published in 2015, 2 years before any allegations were first reported to the police, and the Channel 4 investigation is the first time we were made aware of them. We take this very seriously and will be monitoring the situation closely. Charles gives Thompson's previous denials short shrift.
My reaction was, that's just rather pathetic, because to me that I have that very clear memory of him.
So you'd like him to face up to what he's done?
There's a underlying dishonesty there in Michael's life story. He needs to clarify that. If that's not clarified, then I think that the action should be taken towards withdrawing the film and the book.
Our new allegations tonight heap fresh pressure on all those associated with the Penguin lessons and above all the man responsible for the whole outlandish story.